Buongiorno a tutti, grazie ancora per
Good
essere
afternoon.
intervenuti a questa
Thank you
ennesima
for
conferenza
coming
stampa
here
che dà
to
direi
the
l'ufficialità
second press
al
conference,
tesseramento e alla
which
rappresentazione quindi di
officially
un altro
introduces
giocatore
and presents
importante come è stato
another
Tevez qualche giorno fa.
important player, in
Direi è stata
addition to
la prima
Tevez, that we
acquisizione della
introduced
stagione
some days
13-14.
ago. This is the
Acquisizione
first
forse un termine
buy
improprio in
of
quanto non
this
è
of the
circolato del
next
denaro come ben
season.
sapete,
As you
ma
know, it's not
è
a
stata
real
colta
purchase
un'opportunità che
because we
queste
were
dinamiche di mercato
able to
offrono e
seize the
quindi
opportunities, one
siamo
of the
riusciti
several
grazie
opportunities
anche
offered by the market.
alla nostra
And
tempestività
very
ad
promptly
assicurarci un
and
giocatore
quickly,
di grande talento, un
we've been
giocatore
able
che rappresenta
to
sicuramente
get
un nome
an
importante.
extremely
Lo abbiamo
talented
fatto
player who is
dando
certainly a
l'ufficialità
very
nel corso del mese
important
di
player.
febbraio scorso.
We already
Quindi
officialized
procedendo nel
his
rispetto delle norme
presence in the
regolamentari
club in
vigenti,
February, but
abbiamo
considering the
dapprima
existing
instaurato
rules and
dei contatti
regulations,
con
we
i
first
professionisti che lo
started
rappresentavano,
getting in
poi
contact
successivamente
with
siamo riusciti anche a
his
conoscerlo
representatives,
personalmente,
and
direi
we
al di là delle qualità
also had the opportunity
di
to
campo
meet him
che
personally.
sono conosciute
So
perché
apart
televisivamente
from
e visivamente potevamo
his
apprezzarne le
great
qualità,
talent
abbiamo
and his great
apprezzato anche
skills
un
on the
uomo
pitch,
importante, un
we
professionista di grande
also had the
valore, ed
opportunity
è
to
stato
appreciate the
questo,
fact
direi,
that he's
assieme
a
al suo valore
great
tangibile
man
dal punto di vista
of
calcistico,
great
che ci ha
value, not
portato a
only
stipulare
from
con lui
as
un
an
rapporto
athlete, but also
contrattuale della
as a
durata
man,
di ben
as a
4
human
stagioni,
being. So we were
a
able
testimoniare
to
come noi
sign this
abbiamo riposto
agreement
grande
for
fiducia in
4
lui
seasons,
e altrettanto lui ha fatto
we
in noi.
clearly
Quindi siamo
demonstrated that
molto
we
orgogliosi di
trusted
questa
him a
operazione che
lot,
premia,
and he
direi,
also trusted
tutti i miei
us a lot.
collaboratori, in
So we
primis
are
Fabio
all very
Paratici
proud of
e
this
coloro i
operation.
quali si sono adoperati
I and Fabio
per
Paratici
definire
and
queste
all the
operazioni,
people
la società, il
involved
presidente,
are extremely
tutta la
satisfied with the
Juventus.
great
Abbiamo
success
voluto
of this
dare
operation.
anche
The
questa
whole
volta un
club
segnale
is really
forte,
pleased,
perché
and
la
also this time we
Juventus,
wanted to give a
accaparrando
very
le prestazioni
strong
di questo
signal,
giocatore,
because the
ha
Juventus,
sicuramente
by getting
indiscutibilmente
this
alzato il livello
important
qualitativo di
player,
un
certainly
reparto
has
che
raised
spessissimo era
the
stato
quality
criticato,
of
ma
a
che in
sector
realtà
that
poi
has been highly
forse è sempre stato
criticized,
sottovalutato,
and
perché
that at the same time
nelle
has
ultime 2
always
stagioni noi
been a
abbiamo
little bit
comunque ottenuto, da una
underestimated because of the
parentesi
last
statistica che
2
indico
seasons,
in
and this
questo
is just some
frangente, la
statistics
migliore
to make you
differenza reti,
understand.
con
We
un attacco
we
che se non il
scored
primo è
less
sempre stato il secondo
goals,
sia nella
but
stagione
nonetheless
passata e
our
anche in quella prima.
attacking department, our
Quindi
strikers have
direi
always
che
been doing
accogliamo
very
con
well.
grande
So obviously
piacere
we
e con grande
wanted to
entusiasmo
reinforce this
questo
sector even
nostro
more
nuovo
in the
giocatore.
squad. So
Fernando
we would like
è,
to
dicevo, un
welcome
giocatore
Fernando. As I
che è
said before, Fernando is very well
è il
known.
campione del mondo in
He
carica,
is
è il campione d'Europa in carica,
the
quindi
world
testimonia quanto la sua
champion and
qualità
the
sia veramente
European champion
indiscutibile.
too. So
La
obviously
passata
his
stagione non è
quality and
coronata
skills
con
are
delle
not
prestazioni in
being
termini di
questioned, are
realizzazione, di presenza
indisputable,
sicuramente
and
consistente, ma voi siete esperti di calcio, quindi
you are all
sapete benissimo
football
che quando
experts, so
un
you
giocatore
know
è in
very
scadenza
well
e
that
non trova il rinnovo con la
when
società che ne detiene i
the
diritti
contract
sportivi,
is about to
spesso si
expire, and
generano
when
quelle
there is
situazioni
no
di
agreement between the
tensione
player and the
rispettabilissime e
club,
legittime
some
che portano
tensions,
magari a
some
un uso un
conflicts may
pochino,
arise,
direi, di
and
secondo piano.
these
Solo questo, nelle
may
stagioni
ruin the
precedenti,
atmosphere a
se mi
little
riferisco
bit.
alle ultime
But if
5
we
stagioni
considered the
che lui ha
last
disputato
5
con l'Atletico
seasons that
Bilbao,
he has
oltre ad aver
played with
collezionato quasi
Atletico
l'emblem
Bilbao,
di
so
presenze,
not
ha sempre
only was
realizzato una media di 15
always
gol a
present, but he
stagione.
was also
Questo
able
quindi è
to
un auspicio
score
anche perché
on
possa
average 15
continuare in questa
goals
striscia,
per season. So we
direi,
truly
meritevole
hope
di
that
grande
he will
prestigio
be
anche
able
con
to
noi.
go on in this
Io
direction
non ho
and to do
altro da
even
aggiungere se
better
non
with
darvi il
us, with
benvenuto, come ho
our
detto
club.
prima,
So
a Fernando
I can conclude my
direi
presentation,
che
and I would like to
Fernando è a
give the floor
disposizione
to Fernando. Fernando
ascoltando
will be
quelle che
more
sono le
than
vostre
glad
domande.
to answer all your questions.
Buongiorno, Paolo Ghemo
Good
di Sky Sport.
afternoon,
Volevo chiedere a Fernando,
Paolo Ghemo, Sky Sport. I would like to
due
know
cose.
from
La prima,
Fernando two
in realtà sono
things.
tre. La
Well,
prima
actually three
è perché hai
questions.
scelto la maglia
First
numero
of all,
14?
why have you
Perché hai
opted
scelto la
for
Juventus,
number
che ti ha
14, and why did you
corteggiato
decide
per
to
tanto
come to
tempo, e se
Juventus?
avevi delle altre
And did you have any
richieste
other
allo stesso livello
options,
come prestigio della
any other
Juventus? E
requests
poi un'altra
as
curiosità è
important
questa,
as Juventus?
se
And
a
then
Bilbao ti
the
hanno
last
mai
question. So
parlato
in
di quella
Bilbao,
Coppa UEFA
have you
persa
ever
a San
been
Mamés
talked
nel
about that
1977 contro
UEFA
Roma?
Cup that you
Grazie.
lost in San Mamés against Juventus? Thank you.
Son 4 preguntas en realidad. En primer lugar, ¿por qué la camiseta 14? En segundo lugar, ¿por qué la Juve? Y si hay la Juve, que ha sido un equipo que le ha seguido durante mucho tiempo, y si hay otras solicitudes de la altura de la Juve por su cuenta. Y en un último lugar, si en Bilbao han hecho referencia a esa Copa UEFA que la Juventus le usurpó al Bilbao en el año 77.
Adesso.
Lo primo il numero perché è un numero
Well, first of all,
che mi piace molto
the number.
e credo
I've
che
chosen this number because
posso
I like it
farlo
very
molto
much,
bene con
and I
lui.
think that I can play very well with this number.
Secondo,
Then,
¿cómo era?
La pregunta era ¿por qué la Juventus, que ha sido un equipo que le ha
Sí,
seguido durante
bueno,
mucho tiempo?
porque creo que è una grandissima squadra.
second question, well, I think that
per me
Juventus is a
è un
great
sogno
club,
poter
and for
giocare
me
qui.
it's a dream to be here and play
En
here.
tercer lugar, si ha habido otras solicitudes por parte de clubes de la misma altura.
La Juventus è
As to the
la
third
squadra
question, I
più
think that
grande
Juventus is the
che ha apostato per
greatest
me e per me,
club
come detto prima, è un
that
sogno
was interested in
poter giocare
me.
qui.
So as I said before, it's a
En
real
último lugar,
dream
si
to
dirán
play
esa
here.
referencia a la Copa UEFA que la Juve ganó a Bilbao en el 77.
Sì, lo he ascoltato
And as
alcune
to the last
volte.
question, yes, I heard
È bueno,
that story, and
è bueno che vincerò, no?
I
che haya
hope
ganado, quiero decir.
I will win, definitely.
Las respuestas serían, el número 14 me gusta y creo que puedo hacer un buen papel con él. ¿No es necesario? De acuerdo.
Buongiorno, Simone Cerrano
Good afternoon.
di Mediaset.
Simone Cerrano,
C'è
Mediaset.
qualcuno che ti paragona a Ibrahimovic.
Someone compares you to
Per chi non
Ibrahimovic.
ti conosce, ti
For
chiedo
those
se
who do not know
effettivamente
you,
ti
do
rivedi un po'
you
nello
really
svedese, un giocatore
think
che ti
that
assomiglia,
you can
o siete due
identify
giocatori
yourself
completamente
with
diversi?
the Swedish player, or
Bueno,
you
creo
are two
che
completely different
è un
players?
grandissimo giocatore.
Well, I do think that he is a great player.
E bueno, abbiamo
And
qualità similari.
we have similar qualities.
Bueno, è un giocatore che mi piace molto e che lo
I
he
like
visto
him
giocare
a lot, and I've seen
molte
him
volte, no?
playing several times.
Una pregunta en español. Te has ido de Bilbao después de un año muy difícil y te quería preguntar por este año cómo lo has vivido. Ahora que empiezas una nueva etapa, quizás es un momento para hablar con más tranquilidad de lo que ha pasado y saber exactamente por qué te fuiste, ¿no? Porque en Bilbao mucha gente que te quiere, pues se lo pregunta todavía, ¿no? ¿En qué momento tomaste esa decisión? Cuando allí eras pues, un ídolo, muy
Sí.
bien pagado, etcétera, ¿no? Entonces en algún momento tú decides que te quieres ir y todavía la gente se pregunta por qué, ¿no? Entonces, ¿por qué te fuiste? ¿Y cómo has pasado este año?
La domanda sarebbe, quest'ultimo anno è stato un anno molto
Over
difficile.
the last year,
chiedeva
which has been
da un
quite
lato
difficult,
come ha vissuto
I would
quest'anno
like to know from you
complicato,
how you have
forse in
experienced, how
questo
you have
momento
lived
che
such a
è
complicated
il momento
year,
di tranquillità,
and probably
visto
now
che
you
in avanti c'è una
can
prospettiva
come down. It will be
di
more,
speranza, di
it will be
crescita.
quieter because you will be
Voleva
able to
capire
grow
il
more in this
perché
club,
se n'è
and I
andato
would like to
dall'Athletic
understand why you've left the
Club. Da un
Athletic
altro punto
Club
di vista,
of Bilbao,
tanta
and
gente che
there are
vuole tanto
so
bene,
many people there are really
Llorente, si
affectionate,
chiede
that
ancora
really
il come
love
mai
you.
aver
So
lasciato
all these
l'Athletic
people are still
Club.
wondering and trying to understand why you've
Bueno,
left
el proceso de
Athletic Club.
negociación, pues la verdad que no salió bien por ninguna de las dos partes. A partir de ahí empezaron a salir muchas cosas en prensa bueno, que hicieron daño a mi imagen y que no me gustaron. Y bueno, esto conllevó a que mucha gente pues empezara a hablar pues, mal de mí o sobre todo en el primer partido, pues que ya hubo gente en el campo con discrepancias, con gente que estaba en contra mío y para mí pues eso es algo muy importante que no me gustó que pasara y bueno, a partir de ahí pues para mí también es un sueño como jugador el poder seguir creciendo y creo que he venido al mejor equipo para hacerlo.
Il processo di trattativa purtroppo non è andato
The
bene.
negotiation was not successful, and from that moment, also the press contributed to create a negative image of myself, and this, as a result, from the very first match when this news was released, there was a lot of talking about the great differences in terms of performance on the pitch. But now I'm living my dream. I hope to grow as a player, and I've come to the best team in order to grow in my career. Gazzetta dello Sport. I would like to know two things. First of all, in the history of Juventus, there have been a lot of striking duo. The first composed by Del Piero and Trezeguet. Do you think that Tevez and Llorente will be closer to that couple? And then obviously all the strikers are assessed, are evaluated for the number of goals that you score. So what's the right quantity of goals that should be considered as positive for your season here at Juventus?
Ha habido grandes parejas de jugadores de delanteros notables. La última más reciente, Del Piero y Trezeguet. ¿Cómo será la pareja Tevez y Llorente?
Bueno, lo primo, credo che in questa grande squadra non siamo solo due.
I think that in this great team is not only two strikers, there are 6 strikers, and I think that we can all contribute to the results and do very well. This is something that Conte will have to decide.
Y la segunda sería, delantero significa gol. El valor de un delantero se mide en los goles que hace. ¿Cuál sería, desde su punto de vista, la cantidad de goles que lo harían sentir satisfecho en la primera temporada?
Bueno, non è qualcosa che mi preoccupa, no?
Well, I'm not really worried about the number of goals. I think that the important thing is to help the team win
a conseguire il terzo scudetto consecutivo.
Get the third consecutive scudetto.
Impresa
that will be certainly
da
a
1935.
great enterprise.
Credo che sarebbe bellissimo, no?
And I think that it will be absolutely great to achieve this important goal.
Ciao Fernando, Nicola Gallo, gruppo Mediapason.
Nicola Gallo, Mediapason. So have you already met Conte, and if yes, how many times have you talked to him, and did you follow Juventus of the last year, and what's your impression? And you've clearly demonstrated that you know the Juventus history very well, so I think that coming here you've already seen a lot of pictures of previous Juventus players. So are there any previous Juventus players that inspires you for your performance?
La primera pregunta es si ha encontrado ya a Conte, si lo ha hecho, cuántas veces, qué impresión tiene sobre su entrenador.
Sì, ho potuto parlare con lui alcune volte.
I've already met Conte a couple of times, and I think that he is a very nice person, a very nice coach.
Sono molto contento di poter giocare
really glad
con lui, no?
To have the opportunity to play with him.
Fianco.
La segunda pregunta era, se ve que usted conoce bien el club y le pregunta cuál ha sido su impresión del trabajo que el club ha hecho durante esta temporada, la última temporada.
Bueno, creo che hanno giocato un calcio bellissimo.
That all the Juventus players have always played a wonderful type of football, and
che si hanno meritato che hanno meritato vincere il campionato.
The club deserved to win the league, to win the championship, to get the scudetto.
Riusciamo
and hopefully we'll be able to get another scudetto also next year.
La pregunta era, en San Mamés tienen una gran tradición de pichichi. ¿Tiene usted alguna inspiración de la Juve?
¿Sí tengo?
¿Alguna inspiración de algún jugador, algún pichichi de la Juve que le guste?
Sí, bueno, Roberto Baggio, Trezeguet,
Roberto Baggio and Trezeguet certainly inspire me a lot, and Del Piero too. There are so many players, top players that have played here, and they're really
Hola, Fernando.
great.
Sí.
Aquí. Quería preguntarte, siendo esta temporada temporada mundial, al final, si este cambio de equipo también ha pesado mucho el poder volver a jugar siempre, porque cuando has jugado Del Bosque ha contado contigo, y quería saber en qué orden de tu lista de prioridades está volver con la selección y jugar el mundial. Y la segunda es si vuelves a sentirte el Rey León.
Bueno,
due domande. In primo
Two
luogo,
questions.
qual è
First of all,
in che posto di priorità è giocare con la nazionale?
What's your priority as far as playing in the national team is concerned? And then the second question, do you still feel as the King Lion, as the Lion King?
Bueno, lo primero, que sí, ha sido un año muy, muy complicado porque no he podido hacer lo que más me gusta, que es jugar al fútbol y jugar todo lo que me hubiera gustado para poder ayudar al Atleti. Y bueno, esto ha hecho que no haya podido estar en la selección, y es algo que de verdad pues es lo que más deseo también, una de las cosas que más deseo, volver a la selección, y espero pues, hacerlo muy bien esta temporada en la Juventus y bueno, si cabe, poder volver a la selección.
Quest'anno è stato un anno molto complicato.
Last year has been very complicated because I couldn't do what I like most, that is playing to help my team win, that is Athletic Club, and unfortunately I couldn't play with the national team too, so I hope that I will be able to work well here at Juventus and to reach a top performance and possibly going back to play in the national team again.
Sí, bueno, la verdad que en italiano suena muy bonito también, y sí, es un apodo que me gusta.
Ti piace il soprannome Il Re Leone?
And you like this nickname, Lion King, and even in Italian it sounds very well, so I like it very much. Good afternoon, Baretti Tutto Sport. Two questions. So you talked about the importance of getting the third consecutive Scudetto. So what's the goal instead for the Champions League? Then you also mentioned the other strikers apart from you and Tevez. So according to your analysis, do you think that which one of these four strikers could be matched to you in order to reach a top performance?
Su objetivo desde el punto de vista de Italia, que sería ganar el tercer Scudetto consecutivo. La pregunta sería, ¿cuáles son sus objetivos con respecto a las Champions?
Bueno, con respecto a la Champions, creo
Well, as to the Champions League,
un campionato molto difficile.
I think that is certainly very difficult and demanding. We'll have to proceed very gradually, step by step,
conseguire
and
riuscire di più, no?
hopefully manage to do more and more.
Mejorar los cuartos de final del año pasado.
Bueno, qui giocano molte equipe, molte squadre.
I mean, in the Champions League there are so many teams that are so strong, so it's very hard to play against them and
avere pressione, no?
We shouldn't feel under pressure. We have to be absolutely quiet and confident and proceed very gradually, step by step.
Ha hecho usted referencia a los otros cuatro delanteros, aparte de Tevez de la Juve. ¿Hay alguno que por sus características técnicas le parezca que puede hacer una buena pareja con usted?
Bueno, yo creo que posso giocare con.
As to the other strikers, I think that I can play with any players of this club. They are all great athletes, great players, and so I'm very happy to be here and to play with them.
Buonasera a tutti, sono Abdil Majid di Al Jazeera Sport. Ho due domande, una a
I
Llorente e
have
l'altra
two
al signor Marotta.
questions, one to
La
Llorente,
prima,
one to Mr. Marotta.
lei ha
The
giocato
first,
con diciamo, Xavi e Iniesta nel
you played with Xavi and Iniesta in
conosce anche
the
il gioco
Spanish
di
national
Pirlo.
team, and you
Quale
also
di
know
questi tre
Pirlo's
giocatori che può
style.
darti più
So
credibilità
who of these
nel
three players can
diciamo,
give you a better contribution in terms of creativity in the attacking area of the field?
Pirlo. De los tres jugadores, ¿cuál sería el que piensa que le da más creatividad en el campo?
Tutti sono incredibili.
Well, they're all
Non
amazing,
posso
so I can't
compararsi, no?
Paragonare? Paragonare?
Paragonare. Non posso
I can't really
paragonare
make a
perché
comparison because
ognuno
each one of them
differenti.
has its own characteristics. They're all different.
Spero che qui Pirlo
So I hope that Pirlo
possa
here
aiutarmi a crescere
will help me
come giocatore.
grow and improve as a player.
La seconda domanda al signor Marotta.
Then the
con l'arrivo
second
di Llorente,
question to
possiamo
Mr.
dire che il
Marotta.
calcio
So
mercato
with
si è chiuso.
Llorente, we could say that the market has finished, or maybe there will be other important purchases. Well, certainly your question is absolutely relevant. I have to say that this operation, even though it had been underestimated, because when there is a zero parameter player, very often the mass media are not so enthusiastic, but we have to remember that the resolution clause with the club was 37 million euros, but the fact that we were able to get the zero parameter was because basically it all happened like this. It was quite easy for us, also considering the good relationship that we had with the player in order to get to this result. So I can tell you that with Tevez and Llorente, we have two great players, two great talents with top quality, so that the strikers area, the attacking area of the squad has certainly been raised a lot. So as far as our offensive team, we're absolutely satisfied with the results. And as you know, we also had different hypotheses, but the problems that we had with other players, well, we do think that as far as the strikers are concerned, that's enough for us, and we are very happy with the new players.
Bienvenido, Fernando. Antonio Paolino, 7 Gol TV.
Antonio Paolino, 7 Gol TV. Fernando would like to know from you, also stressing your characteristics, half of the goals that you scored in Spain are all headers. So what conditions do you need in Juventus in order to be in the best position, and what type of player are you in order to help the whole team also in other situations, in other playing conditions?
Goles de cabeza. Le pregunta cuáles son las condiciones del juego que debe propiciar la Juventus para favorecer su resultado, y por otra parte, ¿qué tipo de jugador es usted en este sentido?
Bueno, credo che i giocatori che
I think that
c'è adesso la
the
Juventus
players that are now part of the squad
mi possono
can
aiutare molto
definitely
bene
help me a
per
lot
fare molti gol di
to
testa.
score a lot of goals and of headers in particular.
¿Cómo se define usted como jugador en el contexto de cómo contribuir a su juego?
Bueno, credo che posso
And
aiutare molto
as a player, I think I can
Juve,
help Juventus, I can help the whole team, and
in tutte le sentiti, ¿no? En todos los sentidos. Y bueno, poco a poco
at all levels, I think that
spero
it will certainly a gradual
confianza,
process. I
fiducia,
hope to become more and more confident,
e farlo
and
ogni volta meglio.
I hope that after match I will be able to improve and to do even better. La Stampa, Giulio Cataniera, I have two questions. in such an historical moment where it is very difficult for foreign players to come to Serie A and to come to Italy. So why are you so interested in our league, in the Italian league? And I know that also the Premiership, there were some English teams, clubs interested in you, but you actually decided to come here. Then you also said that you want to grow as a player, and for a player who is a world champion and European champion with the national team. So how can you still grow? To what extent?
Jugadores quieren venir a la Serie A italiana extranjero. ¿Por qué ha elegido venir aquí? ¿Por qué no a Premier, por ejemplo? La Premier League.
Perché è un gioco che mi sembra bellissimo.
I think that the Italian football is wonderful, and then there is Juventus here.
La otra pregunta era, usted habla en repetidas ocasiones de crecer, de su deseo de crecer. ¿En qué medida, qué tipo de crecimiento va a ser el crecimiento que va a obtener aquí?
Bueno, credo che tutti i giocatori dobbiamo seguire crescendo.
Need to grow, and every time we have the opportunities to grow more, to improve. And I think that I can do it here, and I can do it very well.
Fine a dove, ma
I don't know exactly to what level or to what extent,
magari sia molto alto.
I hope I will reach an even higher level here.
Ciao Fernando, Marco Venditti, Rete 7.
Marco Venditti, Rete 7.
Una domanda, le difese
One question.
italiane sono molto dure.
The Italian defenses are very hard, so it's very difficult to demonstrate your value in the Italian football. Do you think you have the right characteristics, the right skills in order to make the difference and to demonstrate that as a purchase by Juventus you are really worth?
Se sabe que son muy duros y hacen muy difícil demostrar el propio valor en el campo. En este sentido, ¿cree usted que tiene las características ideales para marcar la diferencia y para demostrar que usted es el jugador que la Juve ha aspirado a comprar?
So che il calcio è un gioco difficile. I know that football is certainly very hard sport, and as I said before, I think that I can play well here.
Bueno, avrà che sperare, no?
Well, we have to wait and see what happens
durante l'anno.
During the next season.
Buonasera,
Filippo Cornacchia, Tutto Sport. One question to Llorente and one question to Mr. Marotta. Well, Llorente, so after the last season, what's your current condition, and after all the talks to Conte, you know that Conte is famous for very hard training, so are you aware of this? Because is this the first thing that Conte asked you? Then the second question to Mr. Marotta, I would like to know from you is, considering the technical and physical characteristics of the player, especially after the defeat against Bayern München, Conte complained about the lack of certain players with certain physical characteristics, and as soon as Llorente arrived here, do you think, looking at his physical performance, do you think he will be able to fill that gap? And instead, with the release of some other strikers like Quagliarella, Matri, and maybe Vucinic, do you think that you could maybe start talking about Jovetic again, because it's not a mystery, you've been pursuing him for over 1 year?
Después de esta temporada que ha sido difícil, ¿cuál es su nivel de condiciones? Y Conte, que es un entrenador conocido por la dureza de su entrenamiento, le pregunta si le ha preparado un programa pesado para las vacaciones.
Sto molto bene perché
well, I feel very well. I feel in good shape because I've worked for 2 years with Marcelo Bielsa, who is a very hard coach, and we have worked very hard.
Neanche ho giocato poco.
Even though I've not played much, I think that I'm very good fit, in very good shape.
Ho lavorato questa vacanze
And during my
per arrivare
last holidays,
bene,
I worked hard in order to come here in
continuare
this good shape, and I hope I will be able to continue.
Lavorando
And I want to work
per arrivare
even harder in
ancora
order
meglio.
to improve my physical conditions even more.
Le pregunto se era pesado el programa de Conte.
No.
Was the training program developed by Conte hard? No, it was okay. It was absolutely necessary and good in order to reach a top performance. And then I think that it will be even harder from now onwards.
Devi dirti la sua... Ah, ok, me la ricordo, scusami. Sì, faceva riferimento a spagnolo. Había hablado de la differenza
che arrivando lui il peso della squadra acquisisce un'importanza europea più, diciamo, più rilevante.
Sì, col suo arrivo. Ma, ok.
Vabbè, comunque la risposta è semplicissima, Filippo.
Well, my answer is very simple. It's clear
le caratteristiche di Fernando sono ben note.
Fernando's characteristics are well known, and so the fact that he's a really complete striker and that will be even more exalted in Conte's type of play and arrangement, because he always wants to involve all the players. He certainly has a certain weight and stability, and at the same time a kind of overplay, aerial play that we lacked a little bit because of his headers. And so I do think that with his arrival, as I said before when I introduced him, the fact that he has this complete qualities in the complete kind of game that Conte wants, well, Llorente's presence is certainly very important and will give an important contribution. Well, as Jovetic, I already answered the question before, so it's very difficult now to start talking about him again. Well, as you know, in football, well, you know, football market, so what doesn't happen today might happen in the future. Well, I've been very clear today, and it's obviously from now up to the 31st of August, a lot of different things might happen, and maybe we'll get it for free from Fiorentina, who knows?
Perdona que vuelva sobre lo que has dicho antes, que dices que te sentó mal, sobre todo en el primer partido en el campo, después de que habían salido publicadas algunas cosas, las discrepancias en el campo. ¿Te refieres a la reacción del público o también de algunos compañeros? Y también si dentro del club has tenido problemas concretamente con la directiva o con alguien que han, digamos, estropeado la relación.
No, con compañeros por supuesto que no, y con la directiva con nadie tampoco. Simplemente, pues bueno, no han salido las cosas como me hubiera gustado, y bueno, aún así es algo que ya lo he olvidado, ¿no? Yo creo que al Atleti le debo muchísimo, le debo agradecer todo porque es el equipo donde me he formado, y la verdad que siempre voy a estar agradecido a Bilbao, al Atleti y a toda la gente de Bilbao.
La domanda era, chiedi scusa per ritornare al discorso di come si era sentito nella prima partita,
about your feelings, your sensations during the first match after the press release about the fact that you wanted to leave the Atletico Bilbao. So we would like to know, in addition to your sensations, also what was the reaction by your teammates. Well, basically, the truth was that things happened in a very different way compared to my expectations. So there was a negative reaction, but I've forgotten what has happened, and I would like to thank the Athletic Club because I have grown a lot in that club, and I would like also to thank the whole city because they supported me a lot. Antonio Barillar, Corriere dello Sport. I would like to ask two quick questions. We have talked about the team, but now I would like to know your emotions when you met the supporters yesterday. So did you expect such a great excitement? And then is it true, as we have said here in Italy, that when you decided to leave Atletico Bilbao, also Inter tried to get you to Italy?
Usted ha hablado mucho del equipo, del recibimiento del equipo, pero la pregunta ahora sería, ¿cómo se siente de cara a la afición? ¿Se sintió bien acogido?
Sí, è stato incredibile.
Well, yesterday was amazing, really incredible, spectacular, and I was really surprised by the great welcome by all the Juventus supporters, and I would like to thank all of them. I would like to thank all the supporters for following me and for supporting me as soon as I arrived here, and I would like to tell them that I'm really happy to be here, and I'm happy that I have the opportunity to wear such a prestigious jersey like that of Juventus.
Es verdad, como se está diciendo en Italia, que en el momento en el que usted declaró que estaba dispuesto a abandonar el Athletic Club, el Inter hizo una oferta o se interesó por usted.
No, non è vero.
Well, it's not true that Inter was interested in me.
Sì, volevo chiedere prima a Fernando se
I would like to know from Fernando,
spaventato da questo
are
fatto,
you
si è sempre detto
a
che
little
I giocatori
scared
spagnoli
by the
sono poco
fact that
compatibili
very
col
often
campionato italiano.
Spanish players are said
Prima
not
di
to be
Borca Valero, che invece ha
compatible
fatto una
with
grande
the
stagione
Italian football before Borca Valero that instead had a great season last year? So can you actually say that this is not true? So you're here to demonstrate that it's not true? And then I would like to know from Mr. Marotta, do you think that tomorrow could be the ultimate day, for the ultimate decision for Ogbonna, and maybe you will also able to give Conte left back?
Se pregunta si usted se siente asustado por un mito que hay sobre que los jugadores españoles son un poco incompatibles con el fútbol italiano, salvo en el caso de Borca Valero, que se ha adaptado muy rápidamente.
Por supuesto que no. Creo che giocatori
I think
spagnolo
that Spanish
possiamo farlo molto bene qui.
players can play very well here in Italy,
E io devo
and
dimostrarlo
I want
quest'anno.
to demonstrate it this year.
Dunque, non è segreto dire
Well, it's
che
not a
Ogbonna
secret.
rappresenta un
Ogbonna
obiettivo della Juventus.
is one of
Non è
Juventus'
segreto dire
goals,
che
and
con
it's not a
Cairo
secret
abbiamo
to
iniziato
tell you
una
that we
trattativa.
started in
Ci vedremo nei
negotiations
prossimi
with Cairo.
giorni
We're going to
perché
meet him
chiaramente
also
noi intendiamo,
over the next few days
direi,
because
tra virgolette,
our
portarci in casa, però
intention
ovviamente
is
trattative se
to
ne fanno
get
tante, poi
this
conclusioni
player,
possono
but
essere
as you
differenti.
know, there are
Noi
many negotiations
sappiamo
and
che poi
the
se c'è una
conclusions could be
ratio
different,
causa,
so we'll try
evidentemente
to
lo definiremo.
get him, and hopefully we'll be able to do it, or maybe not. We can't say right now, so we have to be absolutely realistic, and we are very committed to conclude this negotiation. As to the 11th of July, the summer camp will start, and obviously all coaches would like to get the final squad for that date, but first of all we have to consider the different aspects and characteristics of the Italian football market, which is very rigid at times, very hard, and so as you know, there is not much money around, so we'll have to be very careful considering the different transfers and swaps, and we certainly have a very competitive squad, considering your request about left back. We have a lot of eclectic players, and so far no players has left this squad, and I would like to remind you that this squad is the one that won the championship last year and the previous year, so we would like to keep these important teams. Certainly now that we have 6 important strikers, and we hope that we'll be able to reach also the other goals that both the coach and the club have set at the beginning of this campaign of transfers and purchases, but I don't think that all the decisions will be made before the summer training camp, and you must be aware of the fact, of course, that a lot of players playing in the national team will join the squad at a later stage. Thank you very much.